There is a quiet moment after we eat, a moment so ordinary that we rarely notice it. The plate is empty, the body is full, and somewhere beneath conscious awareness, an intricate symphony begins. Enzymes awaken, muscles contract in rhythmic waves, hormones whisper signals across tissues. Digestion is not just a mechanical process, it is a deeply intelligent conversation within the body. And yet, in that delicate window after eating, many of us unknowingly interrupt this conversation. We often think of health in terms of what we eat, proteins, carbohydrates, vitamins, but far less attention is given to what we do immediately after eating. And this is where subtle, almost invisible habits begin to shape outcomes in profound ways. Consider, for a moment, the simple act of lying down right after a meal. It feels harmless, even comforting. The body is tired, perhaps the mind seeks rest. But internally, gravity plays a critical role in digestion. When we remain upright, the stomach is positioned in a way that supports the downward movement of food into the intestines. When we lie down, especially on our back, this natural assistance disappears. The stomach contents press differently against the lower esophageal sphincter, a muscular valve that is not designed to withstand pressure in that orientation. What follows is often subtle at first. A mild burning sensation, a slight discomfort in the chest. Over time, however, this habit can contribute to acid reflux, where stomach acid travels upward into the esophagus. The esophagus, unlike the stomach, is not built to handle acid. Its lining becomes irritated, inflamed, and in chronic cases damaged. This is not merely discomfort. It is a disruption of a protective system. The body is designed with remarkable precision, but it assumes cooperation. Now shift your attention to another common behavior, drinking large amounts of water immediately after eating. Hydration is essential, no doubt, but timing, once again, matters. When food enters the stomach, it encounters gastric juices, hydrochloric acid, and digestive enzymes that begin breaking it down. These substances operate within a specific pH range, a carefully balanced environment. Flooding the stomach with excessive water right after eating can dilute these digestive juices. The result is not catastrophic, but it is inefficient. Digestion slows. Food may remain in the stomach longer than necessary, leading to a sense of heaviness, bloating, or incomplete digestion. Over time, this inefficiency can influence nutrient absorption, subtly depriving the body of what it needs, even when the diet appears adequate. It is not that water is harmful. It is that the body prefers rhythm, spacing, balance, timing. Then there is movement, or rather, the type of movement we choose. Many people believe that exercising immediately after a meal helps burn off calories. It sounds logical on the surface. But physiologically, the body has priorities, and it does not like to multitask in conflicting ways. After eating, blood flow is directed toward the digestive organs. The stomach, intestines, pancreas, and liver become the center of activity. If we suddenly engage in intense physical activity, running, heavy lifting, high-intensity workouts, the body is forced to redirect blood toward the muscles. This creates a competition for resources. Digestion becomes compromised. Muscles may feel sluggish. Some people experience cramping, nausea, or even dizziness. It is not because the body is weak, but because it is being asked to divide its attention between two demanding processes. Gentle movement, on the other hand, tells a different story. A slow walk, a relaxed pace, supports digestion by stimulating intestinal motility without overwhelming the system. It is a reminder that not all activity is equal. Intensity changes everything. There is also a more subtle habit, one that is deeply embedded in modern life: reaching for screens immediately after eating. Phones, televisions, laptops, they pull our attention outward, away from the body's internal signals. At first glance, this may seem unrelated to digestion, but attention itself is a physiological force. The digestive system is closely linked to the nervous system, particularly the parasympathetic branch, often called the rest and digest state. When we are calm, present, and relaxed, this system is active. When we are stimulated, distracted, or stressed, even by something as simple as scrolling through social media, the balance shifts. The body does not fully enter a digestive state. Hormonal signals change. The efficiency of digestion decreases. Over time, this can contribute to patterns of overeating, because the brain is not fully registering satiety signals. The meal ends, but satisfaction does not arrive. In this way, distraction becomes a silent disruptor, not loud enough to be noticed, but consistent enough to matter. And then there is the habit of eating fruit or sugary desserts immediately after a heavy meal. This is often seen as a healthy or indulgent choice, depending on the context. But from a digestive perspective, it introduces complexity. Fruits are generally digested quickly. They pass through the stomach with relative ease when eaten alone. But when consumed after a heavy meal, rich in proteins and fats, they become trapped behind slower digesting foods. This creates a kind of traffic jam within the digestive system. The sugars in the fruit may begin to ferment while waiting to be processed. This can lead to gas, bloating, and discomfort. It is not that fruit is unhealthy. It is profoundly beneficial, but timing alters its effect. The same food can support or hinder the body depending on when it is consumed. What emerges from all these patterns is a simple but powerful idea. The body is not just responsive to what we consume, but to how we behave around consumption. The meal does not end when the last bite is swallowed. In many ways, that is when the most important work begins. There is a tendency in modern health culture to look for dramatic solutions, superfoods, supplements, extreme diets. But often, the most impactful changes are found in these quiet, overlooked moments. The minutes after eating. The decisions that feel insignificant. Health, in this sense, is not built only in effort, but in awareness. If you observe the body carefully, you begin to notice patterns. Eat in a calm state, and digestion feels smooth. Rush through a meal and immediately engage in stressful activity, and something feels off. Subtle, but present. These are not random sensations. They are feedback signals. The body is always communicating. The question is whether we are listening. Even posture, something as simple as how we sit after eating, plays a role. A slouched position compresses the abdominal cavity, placing pressure on the stomach and intestines. An upright posture, with relaxed shoulders and a neutral spine, creates space for the digestive organs to function without constraint. It seems almost too simple to matter, and yet over time, these small physical cues shape internal processes. There is also an emotional dimension to this. Eating is not just biological, it is psychological. The state of mind we carry into and out of a meal influence hormonal response. Insulin, cortisol, ghrelin, leptin. Stress, even low-grade stress, can alter how nutrients are processed and stored. When we rush away from a meal into urgency, deadlines, or conflict, the body does not simply switch modes instantly. It carries that tension into digestion. Blood flow patterns change. Enzyme secretion adjusts. The body prioritizes survival over processing. And in doing so, it sacrifices efficiency. Over months and years, these patterns accumulate. Not dramatically, but steadily. A little more bloating here, a little less energy there. A gradual shift in metabolism. These are not isolated events. They are trends shaped by repetition. What makes these habits particularly important is their invisibility. They do not cause immediate harm in most cases. There is no sharp pain, no clear signal that something is wrong. Instead, they operate in the background, slowly influencing the body's internal environment. This is why awareness is so powerful. Not awareness in a forced or rigid sense, but a gentle noticing. What happens when you sit quietly for a few minutes after eating? What changes when you take a short walk instead of lying down? How does your body respond when you delay that glass of water slightly, or when you eat fruit separately? These are small experiments, but they reveal something fundamental. The body is adaptable, but it prefers harmony. There is a rhythm to digestion, a sequence of events that has been refined over millions of years. When we align with that rhythm, the body operates with ease. When we disrupt it, even unintentionally, the system compensates, but at a cost. And perhaps this is the deeper lesson. Health is not just about discipline or restriction. It is about alignment, about understanding the natural processes of the body and choosing, as often as possible, to support rather than interrupt them. In a world that encourages constant activity, constant stimulation, and immediate gratification, the idea of simply sitting quietly after a meal, of allowing the body to do its work without interference, feels almost radical. And yet, it is deeply natural. The body does not ask for perfection. It asks for cooperation. And in those quiet moments after eating, when nothing seems to be happening, everything important is already underway.